Disclaimer: this story contains mature themes intended for adult viewers. Viewer discretion is advised. The air was thick with quiet when I stepped into the living room. Dim golden lights spilled across the wooden floor, casting long shadows that flickered with the rhythm of the candle flames dancing on the console. The soft hum of the night filled the silence, distant traffic, a ticking clock, and the subtle rustle of silk as I adjusted my robe. It was barely tied, not carelessly, just loose enough to breathe. And maybe, just maybe, to feel a little noticed. He was already there, sitting deep in the couch, legs slightly spread, one arm resting over the back like he owned the place. He didn't hear me at first, or maybe he did. But when our eyes met, oh, that pause. That moment. His gaze lingered. Not just a glance. Not the polite kind of look you give someone when they enter the room. No, this was slower. Warmer. His eyes didn't just see me, they studied me. Followed the curve of my neckline, the slip of my shoulder, the way the robe clung to my waist, then let go at the thigh. And I pretended not to notice. I walked to the side table with every step measured, calm, casual, but every nerve inside me wide awake. My heart beating not loud, but deep. Like it knew something was shifting. He cleared his throat, low and soft. And when I turned, there was something unfamiliar in his smile. Not innocent, not bold either. Curious. Lingering. He looked different that night. Or maybe I just saw him differently, the way he'd grown into that quiet confidence, how his gaze had stopped feeling playful and started feeling like a challenge. There was a warmth in the room that wasn't from the candles. A closeness we hadn't acknowledged before. Maybe we crossed that line with just our eyes. Maybe we'd already been tiptoeing near it, and tonight, the edge felt closer than ever. I poured myself a drink, felt his eyes follow my every move. I leaned on the counter just a bit longer than I needed to. He didn't look away. Neither did I. The silence between us wasn't empty. It was waiting. Waiting to see who would move first. "You're up late," I said softly, wrapping my hands around the chilled glass, trying to ground myself in anything other than the way he was looking at me. He tilted his head, eyes never leaving mine. "Could say the same about you." I smiled, just barely. "Couldn't sleep." A beat of silence. He nodded slowly. "Me neither." I took a sip, felt the cold liquid chase the warmth building inside me. He shifted slightly, patting the empty space on the couch beside him. "You don't have to stand all the way over there," he said, voice low. "It's just me. Just him." But nothing about this felt casual anymore. I walked over, letting my robe sway lightly with every step. When I sat, I made sure there was still space between us. Barely. He leaned in a little, and I could feel the heat radiating from him. Not touching, but so close it made my skin hyper-aware. "You always wear that robe when you can't sleep?" he asked, eyes flickering from my collarbone to my lips. I turned to him, my smile more amused this time. "Why? Is it distracting?" His laugh was breathless. A little. The tension cracked in that laugh, but only for a moment. Then, silence again. Loaded. Comfortable, yet charged. Our hands rested side by side, not touching. Until they did. Not on purpose. Just a soft brush, knuckles grazing, but neither of us pulled away. And it was that tiny touch, that made everything louder. The clock. Our breathing. The air between us. "I remember when you first moved in," I said quietly, eyes on our hands. "You barely spoke to me for weeks." He chuckled. "Yeah." I didn't know what to say. "You were," he paused. "Different." "Different how?" He turned, and this time, he didn't hide the way his gaze dropped to my lips again. "You've always had this presence." My breath caught, and I looked away, not because I was shy. Because I was afraid of how much I liked hearing that. Our fingers intertwined slowly, naturally, like they were meant to. A second passed. Then another. And then, he leaned just enough for his shoulder to brush mine. His voice was a whisper now. "Is this okay?" I nodded, barely. "Yes." The moment froze, just him, me, the glow of the room as his thumb brushed the back of my hand in a slow, careful stroke. And in that quiet, electric stillness, nothing else existed. His thumb was still tracing circles on the back of my hand. It should have been innocent, comforting. But every movement sent a quiet shiver up my arm. I swallowed hard. We shouldn't. He didn't let go. I know, he whispered, his voice a low hum that seemed to settle in my chest. I turned my head slowly, our faces close now. Too close. I could see the flicker of something behind his eyes, hesitation wrapped in heat. Like he was asking the same questions I was. Why does this feel so right, when we know it's not? I helped raise you, I said softly, the words catching in my throat. He gave a small, sad smile. You were never really just that. Not to me. The truth in his voice cracked something inside me. This wasn't sudden. It had been building in glances across the dinner table, in casual conversations that lingered too long. In every moment we tried too hard not to feel this. And now it was all here, raw and real and right in front of us. My knee brushed his, a slight shift, unintentional. Or maybe not. Neither of us moved away. People wouldn't understand, I murmured. Do you understand it? He asked, gaze locked with mine. Because I do. I've tried to stop thinking about you. I've tried to pretend. But this, his hand brushed the side of my thigh gently, his fingers barely touching the silk, it's not going away. The air between us was no longer just warm, it pulsed, thick with things unsaid. I looked down at our hands, still linked. We could ruin everything. He leaned closer, his voice now barely a breath. Or we could stop pretending. His forehead almost touched mine now. The space between our lips? A whisper. I could feel his breath. My heart thudded against my ribs, every beat louder than the last. Everything inside me said don't. But a deeper voice, the one I'd silenced for months, begged just once. Then, the sound of a door creaked somewhere in the house. We froze. Our hands broke apart, our bodies leaned back, just inches, but it felt like a mile. He looked away, exhaling slowly. I closed my eyes, fighting back the ache of something unfinished. We were right there, a moment away from crossing that invisible line. And still, neither of us moved. The creak had passed. Just the wind, or maybe the old floorboard settling. But neither of us spoke. The moment had cracked, but not broken. He looked at me again, slower this time, his expression unreadable, or maybe just full of everything he couldn't say out loud. My own breath felt uneven, chest rising and falling as if my body had already decided something my mind wasn't ready to face. He stood. I watched him move, calm, unhurried, like he wasn't sure what he was about to do either. He extended his hand. Come here. 2 simple words. Nothing forceful. Just an invitation. I hesitated for a heartbeat, then placed my hand in his and let him pull me up gently. Now we were standing close, too close. His scent was familiar, clean, warm. His hand never left mine, and the other rested lightly at my waist, fingers brushing the edge of the silk robe. I felt the shift in his breath when he realized how thin the fabric really was. His voice was low. Are you cold? No, I whispered. Not at all. A soft laugh escaped him, nervous, maybe? Or just a way to release the tension coiled so tightly between us. We weren't smiling anymore. I looked up at him, and he was already watching me. There it was again, that long, loaded eye contact that said everything. His hand moved slightly, brushing the silk over my hip. My skin tingled. You're shaking, he said, almost in awe. I know, I replied, my voice barely audible. I don't know if it's fear or excitement. His forehead touched mine, gentle, barely there. Maybe both, he murmured. Neither of us moved away. Time slowed. The silence was heavy, but not uncomfortable. It was full of breath, of heartbeat, of something just about to break. I felt his thumb graze the side of my neck. My lips parted instinctively. He leaned in. Closer. So close I could feel the warmth of his mouth just hovering near mine. The softest breath. His hand slid up my spine, resting between my shoulder blades. My own hands gripped his shirt without thinking. 1 second more. 1 inch more. And then he stopped. Right there. Hovering on the edge. Waiting. And I realized he wanted me to close the distance. Just as I leaned in, heart pounding, lips close enough to feel the electricity, a sharp buzz sliced through the tension. His phone lit up on the side table. We both froze. He pulled away, breath caught in his throat, eyes flicking toward the screen. I saw the name before he did. Dad. Silence. A cold hush spread between us, even though our bodies still burned from the nearness. His father. My husband. He grabbed the phone, turned it over, silencing the vibration without answering. He's out of town, he said, but the words felt hollow now. I wrapped my arms around myself, as if suddenly aware of the silk clinging to my body, of how far we had almost gone. How close we still were. We can't keep doing this, I said, barely trusting my voice. This, whatever this is, it's not just dangerous. It's wrong. He stepped forward. Then why does it feel like the only thing that's real? I looked at him, torn. And I hated how much I agreed. Because he wasn't just a secret, he was a temptation I never planned to feel. And now, I couldn't imagine not feeling it. I've never looked at you like this before, I said. Not until recently. I didn't want to. And I've been trying to stop for months, he admitted. But then you walked into the room tonight and I couldn't pretend anymore. The honesty in his voice stripped me bare. No games. No pretending. Just us. I stepped back, needing air, clarity, something. Your father trusted me, I said, but my voice cracked. He married me thinking I could love him the way I used to. He moved closer. Maybe he never saw the way you needed to be loved. His hand found mine again, slower this time, fingers lacing with mine. Our pulses aligned. You deserve to feel seen, he whispered. To feel wanted. I looked into his eyes, and for the first time, I didn't see the boy I once knew. I saw a man who made me forget every rule I ever wrote for myself. No one can know, I said, already breathless. He didn't answer, he just pulled me close, our bodies aligning like they were always meant to. His hand pressed against the small of my back, and when his lips finally met mine, there was no hesitation, no pause, no pretending. And in that kiss, urgent, aching, too long delayed, everything else fell away. His lips were on mine finally, completely, and it was nothing like I imagined. It was more. Not rushed, not reckless. It was slow, deep, like he wanted to remember every second. His hands moved up my back, gentle but firm, anchoring me to the moment. I melted into him, years of restraint and hesitation slipping away with every heartbeat. My fingers found his jaw, then his hair, soft, thick, familiar. The kind of touch you never forget. We pulled apart only to breathe, foreheads resting together, both of us trembling. This is real, he whispered. I nodded, unable to speak. It was never just physical, not for us. This fire had grown quietly in stolen moments and silent wishes. And now that it had ignited, there was no going back. He kissed me again, this time softer, more reverent. Like he wasn't just kissing me, he was choosing me. But then came the twist. My phone buzzed on the kitchen counter. We both stilled. I walked over slowly, heartbeat thudding in my ears. The screen lit up. We need to talk. I'll be home early. Mark. My husband. My body turned cold. He was coming back tonight. I stared at the message, the weight of everything crashing down. This wasn't a dream anymore. It was real. Messy. Dangerous. I turned to him. He's on his way. His expression didn't change, not much. But I saw the flicker of pain. The tightening of his jaw. So what now? He asked quietly. I walked back to him, stopping just inches away. My hands rested on his chest, and I felt the steady beat of his heart. Fast. Strong. I don't regret it, I said, my voice steady. But we need to decide right now if this was a moment, or if it's something we're willing to risk everything for. He didn't speak. Not at first. Then, His hands slid to my waist again. I've already made my choice. And just like that, he kissed me again, deeper, fiercer, not as a goodbye, but as a beginning. The room had gone quiet again. Not empty, just full in a different way. Like the storm had passed, and now we were standing in the stillness that followed. He sat beside me, both of us catching our breath. My silk robe had slipped further down one shoulder, his shirt was untucked, his fingers still laced gently with mine. But it wasn't about the kiss anymore. It was everything after. I didn't think I'd feel this calm, I said softly, looking down at our hands. He glanced at me, eyes soft. Me either. I leaned my head on his shoulder. No more need for games. Or denial. Just this moment, raw and real. I've spent so long doing the right thing, I whispered. Being who I was supposed to be. But you make me feel like I am something. Not just someone's wife. His arm wrapped around me, his touch grounding. You've always been something, he said. Maybe you just forgot. Maybe everyone else forgot too. Tears pricked my eyes, not sadness. Release. He didn't rush me. He just held me there, silent and sure. Outside, the wind shifted through the trees. Inside, the candlelight flickered, casting golden shadows on the walls. Everything looked the same, but nothing felt the same. I don't know what happens next, I said. He kissed the top of my head. Then we figure it out together. That was the choice. Not lust. Not rebellion. Love. A dangerous kind. Complicated. But real. I turned to face him again, hands cupping his jaw. I kissed him slow this time, not out of need, but because I wanted to remember. This. Us. When we finally pulled apart, there was no guilt. Just peace. And whatever came next, we'd face it. Together.